As you might imagine, I am inspired in my defiance today by the fact that the House of Representatives was almost unanimous in attempting to release the Epstein files, and the Senate was entirely unanimous. And now it is up to Donald Trump to decide whether or not he will sign into law the release of the Epstein files. He has said that he will do so, and Pam Bondi has made up some nonsense about needing 30 days in order to release these files. He has said that he will do so, but he has also said that there is some investigations that may preclude him from releasing all of the files. Now, Pam Bondi, the Justice Department official, said that there were no ongoing investigations and there was no reason to do any further investigations previously to Congress. But obviously things have changed and there may need to be some things withheld, and it will take about 30 days in order to get these files out into the public. Now, this is all nonsense because Donald Trump could simply release the files. He actually didn't need this to pass the House or the Senate. But obviously, there are things within these files that he is nervous about and that he thinks will reflect poorly on him. He clearly does not believe himself to be quite so insulated from these accusations of child trafficking and protecting child sex predators. So it's obvious that it may take some time in order to understand what parts of the Epstein files we actually are going to get access to by having these votes go through. But the Democrats are not waiting. They have subpoenaed the bank records of Epstein and are continuing to push the Epstein estate to release more and more of these emails and documents so that we can actually verify what is going to be released by the Justice Department. Now, I want to be super clear. The Justice Department does not work for Donald Trump. It's a separate and totally independent entity, or at least it should be. When Donald Trump is commanding Pam Bondi to go after people and she immediately does so, it doesn't seem all that independent. And the idea that they would withhold some documents because they would be impacted by a brand new investigation that was previously said to be completely unnecessary is absolutely bonkers. The goal of this bill passage is not to simply go after the Trump administration. Rather, it is to get justice for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. And any attempt to circumvent that is a cover-up. It is making it so that justice cannot be served. And whatever you may think about Donald Trump, whatever you may think about Jeffrey Epstein, if you are standing in the way of justice being served, then you are part of the problem. This effort passed unanimously when people got out of the way. When Speaker Johnson was no longer holding water for President Trump and whatever reasons he has for not wanting these files to come out, everyone voted for it. It is almost as if the leaders are standing in the way of the people getting the truth. And I think if we continue to put pressure on leadership, Republican or Democrat, to show that we care more about justice and about holding people accountable, we will be doing the right work. We will be building for the right future. I'm also inspired in my reality today by the fact that a federal judge has struck down the gerrymander that started the whole gerrymandering craze. Federal judges have blocked the Texas gerrymander that swung way hard to the Republican side. Their congressional maps do not have enough time to be used for the midterm elections, and so they have to revert back to the previous maps that were not nearly as badly gerrymandered. And this means that the theoretical 5 new Republican seats that were theoretically going to be guaranteed are no longer going to be in play. Now, I don't know what this means for the California reaction to the Texas gerrymander that really was voted on based upon the existence of this congressional map in Texas. But I believe that with the denial of the gerrymander in Utah, the denial of people wanting to create a partisan gerrymander in Indiana, and the passage of Prop 50 in California, there is potentially a whole bunch more Democratic seats that are up for grabs in the 2026 election than we were anticipating. And I'm not entirely sure what that means other than the voters will get to pick their representatives. The idea that the judicial branch is going to save us from ourselves, save us from the legislature making terrible legislative and congressional map decisions, is something of a silver lining. And my hope is that this map continues to be blocked at the Supreme Court level. My understanding of it is that there is a December date by which they cannot make changes to the maps, even if the Supreme Court says that they can. And December is coming up real quick. So I'm very heartened to know that there may be more opportunities to vote for the people we actually want to be in power. I don't think this is the end of the gerrymandering fiasco. And I think until we have independent groups actually making these maps, we will never hear the end of this. So I hope that folks will start voting for that eventuality, for that reality to be in place for every single election from here on out. That is what voting rights is all about. That is what making sure the leaders that we actually want to be in power will be there to make these kinds of decisions. If you've made it this far in the video, you've clearly found something you liked or hated enough to watch to the end. I'd love it if you'd leave a comment down below. I'm happy to reply. And if you'd like to subscribe or like this video, that's a pretty good thing to do as well. But I hope you will join me every weekday as we are inspired in defiance and by reality.